So let's look at this. So inscribed angles are angles whose vertex, which would be right there, are on the circle and whose sides are chords. The intercepted arc is the part of the circle or the arc that the angle includes, and it must be on the circle and not the exterior. Now let's look at our circle. You can see that the inscribed angle 27 is half of the intercepted arc 54. The inscribed angle will always be half of the intercepted arc. That is our inscribed angle theorem. Let's solve a couple practice problems. Number 1 is easy. We can see that 108 is our intercepted arc and x is our inscribed angle. So half of 108 would be equal to 54. For the next problem, you have to reach from past knowledge. We can see that x is a central angle, and we know that the central angle will be congruent to the intercepted arc. So in this case, you just cross out the middleman, and you'll see that the central angle will be 2 times the inscribed angle. So 2 times 50 is going to be equal to 100. For the next problem, we can see that this is a semicircle because these two lines are radii. So 180 minus 56 is going to give you 124, and half of 124 is going to be equal to 62. So x is equal to 62. Let's look at some corollaries to this theorem. The first one is 2 inscribed angles with the same intercepted arc must be, and the answer is congruent. This is because these angles right here will both be half of the same measure, which would give you the same measure. For the second one, the inscribed angle that intercepts a semicircle must measure 90 degrees. And this is because this angle will always be 180, since this angle is a semicircle and will also be 180. So half of 180 will be 90. For the third, opposite angles of a quadrilateral inscribed in a circle are, the answer is supplementary, because let's take A and C for example. We can see that the intercepted arcs of A, which would be this, and C, which would be this, add up to 360. Half of 360 would mean that their inscribed angles add up to 180. Another theorem is the measure of an angle formed by a tangent and a chord is half the measure of its intercepted arc. So looking at this, that would be the measure of angle 1 would be half the measure of arc AB, and the measure of angle 2 would be half the measure of arc ACB. Let's look at some practice problems. We can see that 36 is formed by a tangent and a chord, and that y is its intercepted arc. So 36 times 2 would be 72. Since the intercepted arcs of these two angles take up a full circle, I now know that these two angles are going to be supplementary. So if they're supplementary, I can just subtract 36 from 180 to get my other angle, which would be 144. So x is equal to 144. The same thing goes for this one. Half of 184 is 92, so x is equal to 92. And for z, 360 minus 184 is going to be equal to 176, and half of 176 is going to be 88, so y is equal to 88. Another theorem is the measure of an angle formed by two lines that intersect outside the circle is 1/2 the difference of the measures of the intercepted arcs. This sounds complicated, but it really isn't. It's basically saying that this angle is going to be 1/2 the difference of the measures of these. So let's try it out. If AC is 178 and CH is 102, then the difference is going to be 76. Since half of 76 is 38, x is going to be equal to 38. For the next problem, you can set it up like an equation. So 158, which is AC, minus x, since it's unknown, over 2 will give you 68, or the measure of this angle. So 68 times 2 is 136. 136 minus 158 is negative 22, and when you cancel out the negative, x is going to be equal to 22. The last theorem is the measure of an angle formed by two lines that intersect inside of a circle will be 1/2 the sum of the measure of their intercepted arcs. Let's try this out. 170 plus 70 is going to be equal to 240, and half of 240 is going to be 120, so we can say that x is equal to 120. The next problem, you can set up an equation. X plus 99 over 2 is going to be equal to 72. 72 times 2 is 144, so x plus 99 is going to be equal to 144. 144 minus 99 is 45, so x is equal to 45. That is the end of our lesson. I hope I taught as well as the math manj, and have a nice day.